Hey, I'm Jason Freeman. And welcome to episode 47 of Awkwardly Awesome Podcast. Today we're doing something different. I'm actually getting to be interviewed, and not just by anybody. The world's original radio whisperer herself, Harmony Sedona, is going to interview me. Please wave to the audience, Harmony.
Hey everybody, I am so stoked to be here. It's such a thrill, such a thrill. I'm going to, yes, go ahead, Jason.
So when we come back, Harmony will be interviewing me. But first, without further ado, the trailer, which I always awkwardly introduce. So this is the trailer.
Today's guest, Jason Freeman.
That's so cool. I love it. Warms my heart. So I'm in the house. I'm here interviewing the amazing Jason Freeman. And let's start with a little bit of housekeeping because you all know him, but I think having his official bio spoken into this podcast makes it more amazing and more awesome. So whenever Jason Freeman speaks to an audience, be it an intimate mastermind in North County, San Diego, or an assembly of 1,500 high school students in Austin, Minnesota, he is absolutely 100% committed to bringing his speech impediment with him. Audiences see him up on stage against all odds, living his dream, which helps them see their dreams as closer and more attainable. Yes. Jason has a unique walk, a love for country music, a sweet tooth, and a master of fine arts and poetry, a Tedx Talk, and a book he authored called Awkwardly Awesome, Embracing My Imperfect Best. His goal is to speak to millions of people in his lifetime. He hopes to inspire them to see the best in themselves, take their next step forward, and persevere towards their dreams, not only for themselves, but for the health and happiness of generations to come. That's a damn great bio. And you know what's really cool is that, to me, really sums up what I know and feel about Jason. I met him back in 2015 when I first came to San Diego, and it was an unexpected blending of two friends that came together, and we were the tag-alongs, and we just hit it off as friends amazingly. And I came to him one day and I said, Jason, I want to know more about love and life and happiness and pursuing my dreams and being brave, and I just want you to coach me. And that started the most amazing relationship over the past few years of some of the most incredible conversations. I so wouldn't be where I am without Jason at this point. He is just remarkable as a coach, and he's remarkable as a speaker. And even more than that, which is hard to believe, he's remarkable as a friend. His heart is so huge. His compassion and his love of humanity and his friends and people in general and what they can do is just, it blows me away. I've never met anybody else like Jason. And I'm actually honored that he kept me on as a friend, because that was like, hey, that's a big deal. So that's my personal pieces about Jason, and I'm sticking to it. So that's kind of cool. So I'm excited. I'm going to gather myself for a minute because he's like, what's the question? We're all wondering, what's the next question? I'm actually wondering myself, but that's pretty cool. So one of the things that Jason and I love to do when we play is a thing I call multiple choice on the questions. So Jason, multiple choice, A, B, or C. A would be, what was it like standing in Texas giving that standing ovation TEDx Talk? B, awkwardly awesome and imperfect best, helping humanity find some way of living in their imperfect best. You want to talk about that? or your goal to reach millions in your lifetime? Or D, pick one and run with it.
Oh, thanks so much, Harmony, for the great intro. And and thanks for your friendship and for blessing my life over and over and over and over again. Uh, and thanks for multiple choice to it. It's fun. I feel like I'm back in school, but in a really good way. And I would like to take take letter B. I'll go with B. Um, and that's something about like wisdom B. Something about awkwardly awesome and imperfect best and how I chose those.
Yeah, how you chose them. You wrote a book about it. It's in fingerprint in all your speeches and all your writing and everything, all your interactions. So talk more about it. Why is it important to you? What speaks to you about this? Why does it need to be available to millions?
So I came up with these terms as a solution to a partial solution to the challenge of being human. See, being human comes with challenges, all sorts of challenges. They come up, but then that's only one part of the equation. Our response to these challenges are another part of the equation, and if our response to the challenges is to be resist them and be miserable about them and go like a victim to them and
Yeah.
just be miserable with them and think, oh, nothing will change. We make the challenge 1,000 times harder than it may have been. And I mean, I speak to this because I'm an expert at this.
Yeah.
I took a very simple challenge. What happened is how many my just was
I'm not laughing at Jason. It's an inside joke. We worked on it with his TED Talk, but it's just like a biblical card. None of us could even say a biblical card. So we just, I just love it. It cracks me up every single time.
So the simplicity of the challenge at the beginning of my life is beautiful. When I was born, my umbilical cord became king like a garden hose, and I lost a bit of oxygen. As a result, I developed a speech impediment and some coordination problems. So that's one side of the arithmetic. Think of being in grade school and one plus one, two plus two, whatever. So that's one side. And that's the side I don't really have a say in, at least not consciously at all. That was kind of there for me, but then for much of my life I went plus, hey, since I have this deep thing I I was calling my challenge a defect and a disability and stuff. And I says, hey, so since I have this, the thing I don't like, I'm going to add on to it demands that I always be perfect, demands that I always be cool and suave. And these two demands are exceedingly hard for anyone, let alone a Jason Freeman with a speech impediment who is naturally kind of klutzy. So I went through later grade school with this equation, but I found that life got really heavy. Like I was dragging. I felt like what I added on was like 40,000, and that 40,000
Yeah.
was just coming down and smothering me. So in 7th grade, my umbilical cord had been kinked when I was born, but I in 7th grade I kinked my energy for life, my sense of purpose, my sense of meaning, and I attempted to take my own life because I was so overwhelmed by my demands of myself that I think it's human nature to create unrealistic demands for ourselves, and I did that on steroids, or maybe we all do that on steroids. But I realized in the moment I called for help that this perfectionist mindset, this I have to be totally cool, never make a mistake, saying no all the answers, can do it all myself, never be wrong, just fight. It wasn't and it wasn't working. The understatement of the year, it almost ended my life. So in that moment, even though I didn't have words for it, I was a tearful mess in that moment. But Imperfect, Best, and Awkwardly Awesome they were born. And what Imperfect, Best, and Awkwardly Awesome are is a vision that we have the capability to live vibrantly as exactly who we are, that we can be safe in this life to bring out more and more of who we are, and that when we make mistakes, when we experience imperfections, we don't have to stop ourselves and grow smaller and put ourselves in a box of shame and guilt and, oh my gosh, why did I make that mistake? We can actually use that instance to inspire us to expand, to go more fully into life, to become more alive. So that's a very
Yeah.
long answer to your very short question.
No, it's a long question and it's a fabulous answer because it's to me a very much a window into what makes you tick. But I think even more than that, I know you personally, not just in your public persona. And what I know is that you are with these principles in your everyday life. They matter to you. They matter how you show up. They matter how you look to be with what happens. And something happened, last week, and you're writing to me going, I'm working at how to see the gift in this, because that is the way you see the universe and see the world and see people's potential and see their humanity. So that's one of the things I adore about you. is you walk the talk and you apply it to yourself and then bring it out into the world. So I I think one of the things I'm amazed about, and I think I've spoken about it, is I don't know if we call it a commitment to humanity, but you genuinely care that we as humans do this either differently or more mindfully or with more consciousness so that we aren't adding all these heavy burdens on ourselves. Is that enough of a question that gives you something to be able to explore and talk about?
Yeah, actually, it does. I mean, thanks for that question, and I'm humbled by it. And I instantly think of like there's a quote. I don't know who said it. Oh, I looked it up recently, but then Isaac Newton comes to mind, but I'm not sure. But it says, if I have seen Father, it's because I've stood on the shoulder of giants. And just think about like, I mean like what Henry Ford has done for our lives, or Steve Jobs. We're both on Apple computers now, and I mean, the list goes on and on. Martin Luther King, Gandhi, and the people who invented electricity. So I'm not going to list all the great people who've gone before, because that would be an awfully long list. But my point is, there's something in our nature to grow, to become more than we were like a year ago or 10 years ago. Just think of all of us. We started out as tiny babies, and we didn't know how to walk. We didn't know how to talk. Hey, I still don't know how to talk. But
Sorry.
yeah, it's supposed
You're
to be
just funny.
funny.
That's what's so loving. You're funny.
It's supposed to be funny. I'm glad you laughed at that. Thank you.
Welcome.
So we learn and expand naturally as small kids, learning to walk, to talk, and then school. I mean, we go from first grade to high school, and what? And in 9 years, what? Holy cow! Like, we can't even spell a name, and 9 years later we're doing algebra. What? But as we grow into adulthood, at least for me, I became really cautious, because I didn't want to, because I wanted to be cool and I wanted to be perfect, and I started playing smaller and smaller, and I found out that did not improve my quality of life in the least. It just made me miserable. So now I'm committed to expanding as much as I can every day, and I hope I impart that energy to the people around me, so they can expand in their own way.
You know, I witness comments on Facebook as people are sharing what you've meant to them or what a comment has meant. I witness the testimonials of your clients and the pieces after speeches. I witness friends, and they're all saying the same thing. It's an admiration, I believe, of you walking the talk again, and how you have this foundation of here we are being human, and what does it mean, and how can we bring in more quality of life? If we were to expand the shoulders upon which we have stood, which, it's an amazing concept even unto itself, those who have come before. But I think we share a thought leader that we both adore, Marianne Williamson.
Mm.
And, my part is, who am I to be so brilliant? And I want to scream at the world, who are you not? You have your own version. You want to talk about that? And also how that relates to us seeing the best in ourselves, and how we want these dreams to come true, and how you're so passionate about people living these dreams.
I'm inspired by Marianne Williamson for a few reasons. At a time in my life that I was playing small, her quote about it's not our darkness that terrifies us. It's a brilliance we ask. Who am I to be brilliant? It just suddenly appeared in my awareness, and it got me thinking about like I was going down the road of trying to be more comfortable, just trying to be more comfortable being cool, and I was saying no to things so I wouldn't have to be uncool, and she's like in that quote, she's like, no, Jason, that's not the way. So she really started me. I mean, a lot of things helped me on the path, but she's like, that quote was like a wake up call. You are on the wrong. You're not on the road you want to be on. You're not going where you want to go. And so that's one thing that I'm deeply grateful to her for. And the other thing is just showing me how much our words matter. Like I didn't know Marianne well. I mean, luckily I had an opportunity to see her on stage and actually ask her a question and thank her for writing that quote. But when the quote did its work on me, I didn't know her at all. Nothing, but still, her words affected my life. Our words matter, and you know that as a whisper,
I'm
you
gonna
have,
gonna use that as a quote.
yeah, awesome.
Honestly,
You help people realize that the words matter,
yeah.
And okay, what was the second half of that question, or the new question?
Well, it's kind of interrelated. That I remember you talking about speaking like to high school students, and I remember even non-high school students. I mean, your appeal is across all ages. It seems like you are people resonate with you, just people. There's not a avatar that resonates with you. Your message seems to be universal. And so I remember you talking about but you can do this dream, but there's nothing that can keep you from it. I mean, I think what I'm hearing about the Marianne Williamson quote is that you saw it as playing small and no, and how you chose to make changes. But now you bring that forth into audiences. So do you want to, let's do a little multiple choice here. Do you want to talk about one of your most memorable speaking engagements as to why? Do you want to talk about what it was like to be talking to people about their dreams, and like, who are you to be a speaker with a speech impediment? Like, seriously? Or C, pick a fill in the blank.
So B, I have a confession here. At the beginning of my career, when I got the applause and stuff, I'm like I I'm I mean, originally it was feeding my ego, which I still didn't think I was enough. So I felt I needed the applause to become whole. But now I realize that when people applaud, I hope at least that the seeing in themselves that seem mail back to them that they can be who they are and succeed as who they are. They don't need to become something that they're not to know joy in life. They have an opportunity to be more of who they are.
Yeah, I can see how people would feel that, and I can see that's a fabulous way to actually look at an audience's reaction to somebody laying down speech, because it's very right in the moment. You don't have to read a book and then get a comment. It's like right there, back and forth. So that's a wonderful way to be looking at your speaking and how you're reaching audiences. And I think, again, I'm adverse. It's okay. So, I say it a million times, but it's that commitment to, let's pull them apart. Let's walk with the imperfect best for a while. I mean, I got to tell you that you're in my head a lot when we're not on Zoom. It's like, what would Jason say about me not, me getting on myself for being too perfect? It's time to be in your imperfect best. What is your imperfect best here? So what more do you want to say about living in our perfect best, or the concept, or what we should be aware of, or fill in the blank?
Yeah, great, really super question. So imperfect best, when a bunch of us came up with the concept, we were at a retreat and came up with it like 7 years ago, and then I ran with it, but I have to say it's been like like buying a shirt that was 4 or 5 sizes too large for me, and hoping I would grow into it. And I'm still hoping I grow more into it, but I realized some things in the years since we came up with it, and one thing is the significance of the word best. The word best isn't there to just modify the word imperfect, like as in like I have a speech impediment. I can't do much to change it. So So it's imperfect, but let's just add on the word best and go, yay! But best is a much more sacred, important word than that. The best reflects our dreams, what we hope for in life, how we want to grow, what we want to achieve, our vision, our purpose, going for our best, going down that challenging path. But the imperfect part is equally important because, I mean, we're humans. Imperfections are going to come up. We're going to make mistakes. And I'm not encouraging in the least that we try to be imperfect or we try to make mistakes. I don't know about you. I make plenty of mistakes without trying. I'm like a super prodigy at it. I don't even have to try. I didn't even need to learn. But when mistakes come up, as I said before, that we use them to catalyze our passion for life, to really ennoble us to learn whatever lesson there is to learn and move forward instead of becoming victim to them and saying, geez, I would like to be a speaker, but once I got up and the people didn't really understand what the heck I was saying because I had a speech impediment. So I try, but I can't. Yes. Yeah. And as I said, I'm growing more and more into that and trying to do that more each day because it's still easy for me to make a mistake and get into my head and go, I love it, Harmony. And make myself small and go, why did I do that? Like just before this podcast, I noticed I threw away a bill, a bill that I needed, and so before this podcast, I was literally outside going through the trash can, going through the recycling to find the bill. Would it have been better if I didn't throw it away? Yes, but I did. So go find the bill in the garbage, which I did, and hop on the podcast.
Here we are. Yeah, I mean, that is so, it's so human. It's so human. I mean, and for me, I'm in, several spiritual communities, and a lot of it is how we can be spiritual, how to be spiritual beings. And yet, I agree with you. There's this piece about how can we be spiritual being human? You bring a different spin. How can we live our imperfect best, have the dreams, not shut them down, not play small, activate them, be with them, and be mindful in the moments? And I think that leads to a question, and I'm not sure even where it's going. For me, in trying to live my words, imperfect best, there's a request to accept what has been. It's not about not taking responsibility. It's about allowing my heart to be more open so that I can actually not trash myself for being so fill in the blank. So in your viewpoint, is there a lateral for you on the process or the pieces about accepting the mistakes, accepting the things that we've done at the best we could.
Nice. Nice. I'm going to get to that. First, I want to. Deborah is on, and I'm going to be on Stroke TV in a few weeks, and Deborah and Anna are amazing. They've had strokes, and no one. I mean, there's so much stuff in life we just don't really want, like the imperfect, the being born with a speech impediment, having a stroke, whatever presents a new challenge. But then stroke of genius is like imperfect best. So they're taking what happened, and then they're saying, "Hey, we're going forward. We're going to bring out the genius in ourselves and other people."
Wow.
Thanks, Deborah.
Hi, Deborah.
So speaking of acceptance, so, it just it can be so hard.
Yeah, I agree. I mean, I've got a symbol given by a mentor. That's to open my heart to greater love and acceptance. That's my form of my daily practice, to be with acceptance, not just in concept, but in actual application, where I can feel neutral about me, about others, and then blend into more love, more compassion, more of those human things. Does that springboard anything for you, for ideas or?
So let's go back to my simple example of throwing the bill in the recycling by mistake and having to go dig it out. So there's a few parts here. I mean, one is to acknowledge that I mean, Back to the Future wasn't a documentary. Like, unfortunately, it was not. It was a work of fiction, and as such, we can go back in time. There's no way. I mean, I can live the rest of my life being like, oh my gosh, why did I throw the bill in the garbage? Why? Like every day for the rest of my life, I could be like that. But still, the fact would absolutely remain that what happened is I threw the bill in the garbage. And I can, like, we just can't go back to those moments in the past and change them. So that's like, I mean, that takes acceptance. Like you have a practice of acceptance, which is wonderful. Is wonderful, and we need practices of acceptance for the things that we can't change.
It sounds like
But
the serenity prayer almost, exactly. Yeah.
yeah. I lifted the words from the serenity prayer. So good. and and with acceptance, there's that part, the grace to accept what we can't change, and then there's also the question of what can I change?
What can I do?
Change now and,
Yeah.
now, and so I thought of that too, and I'm like, and I know I wanted the bill, so I know I had the power to walk outside and search the garbage can for the bill. I didn't know if I would find it, but I took the risk, and luckily I found the bill. So that's what I can do now. And then there's a question of what did I learn from this experience in the future that I can take into the future. Like when we sponsors next month when the bill comes, I could just like say, oh, I could forget what I learned and just throw the
Yeah.
bill away and just repeat the cycle and say and I mean have the opportunity to accept all over again. But I don't want to only accept that. I want to learn from my acceptance and move forward. So next month, you better believe I'm going to save that bill, so I'm not back out in the garbage can digging in the garbage.
I'm deeply struck by the simplicity and yet the wisdom of what you're saying. And actually, it's something that had never occurred to me. Like, oh my, like seriously, that because I've been working so hard on accepting, there was never the piece of then what action can I take next? Maybe there is, but it's not the direct healing processing that I'm even considering. And I love the fact that those two are interwoven because it allows me to process and heal. And then it allows me to move forward because then I have an action step and a plan and something to be aware of and something to be mindful of. And that's just a wonderful tag team of 1-2 for acceptance. And I see that we're, a bit away from 2. So I'm going to ask a question, which might have been a closer question, but if we have room for another question or 2, great. So again, this is one of those questions that answer as you can, or as you feel into it, or don't answer it, or go to another question. Is it appropriate to ask you, where do you see yourself in a year or 5 years? Is there a distilled element that goes beyond I'm going to be doing grand, Madison Square Garden, more about how you'll be feeling about your life, what's included in your life? I don't know. You could play a little momentum here. You could play a little bit of tapping into maybe what you hadn't thought about from the question, or just a chance to express a desire, an inkling, a noticing, a seed of something that is like juicy that you're just like,
So brilliant question, thank you. And I'm going to add my friend Agus Kellis's question. If we give a fixed, seemingly immutable points of view, can we do what we have first thought is impossible? So when I think of the next steps in my life and the next breakthroughs I want to have, like if I think from just being where I am, and in going forward. So sometimes it seems impossible to get where I want to go, but to remember that as humans we went from being infants to where we are now, it gives me a sense of just the tremendous power we have to change. So so I used to have a immutable point of view that my disability would always limit me. It was just like the truth for me. I knew it plain as day. Yeah. Not doing the sign of no.
No, it wasn't a cross. It was just a.
Yeah. I realize this kind of, but but that ended up not to be true, and so going forward, I said in the bio, I want to reach those hundreds of millions of people and help them turn challenges into opportunities, and there's a way of doing that will completely exhaust me and will be like bashing my head against a wall, and there's a way of doing that which will enliven me, and I'm coming more and more to the realization that yes, it's good to have a destination. Like, I want to speak to hundreds of millions of people. But what I can do today, besides action steps, is really assess like how much of my energy is open to achieving that purpose versus being attached to an outcome. So what I mean by that is, if I say I must speak to millions of people to be a good person, I'm clinging to some cat in the distance. Not, that was imperfect, Beth.
That was good.
No, I'm clinging to some cat in the distance, not to extend my energy out and have it help or have it benefit millions of people. However, it benefits it. I'm clinging to that cat and want to do that thing just so I'm enough to think of myself as a good human, and I mean that'd be pointless because I mean we're already good humans. We don't need to act. We don't need to do tremendous actions to make ourselves good humans. We're already full of unconditional love, and so but if I go towards this tremendous goal with I know I'm already whole and complete, but and from that point of being whole and completeness, how much can I create? How much bigness can I create? How much bigness can I team with other people like you, Harmony Sedona, like Deborah Sweezy, I don't even know how to say her name, like Eric Harris, like Bob Donnell, like Mary Reeves. How much greatness can we achieve in our through our lives, not in our life, through our lives, knowing that we're already loved, knowing that we're already beautiful, that we're already so radiant. Does that make sense? How the energy is totally different between the two?
Yeah, for me, there's the energy there that you can feel into. You can feel the difference between the striving and the being more in flow with it, which are my words, not yours, but that's how I reflect.
Nice.
There's a wisdom to it of allowing for the steps to unfold, again, my language, not yours, as opposed to being so adamantly attached. It allows the potential goal of the millions to be part of the dynamics, but how it unfolds is kind of you're giving it space to let you do what you do. And these are my words, not yours, but sometimes we can only speak what we can speak to confirm back to you that, yeah, it does make sense on many, many levels.
So if we're not dead set on getting to Boston, we give
Yeah.
the universe a chance to
Yes.
work through us.
Yes. Yes. Or as you have said to me
You
a
see,
few
I
times
did my
lately, yeah.
homework. I did my homework,
Laguna
honey.
Beach. You're like, keep going, go to Laguna Beach. And I'm like sitting here stalling. And it's like, universe is going, my, this is really interesting as you're doing your imperfect best. And maybe you want to go take a trip to Laguna Beach. So anyway, I'm going to ask a multiple choice question because we're coming to the top here and I'm not sure how you close these. So here's how we're going to ask it. Option A. I should go with option because you've always chosen B. Yeah. So option A. Do you want to say a few words on an inspiration you got for doing more group coaching? And Jason said I could ask whatever questions came to me, and he had the choice of answering or not. So I'm not doing anything out of inappropriate. And or B, do you have closing wisdom, ideas, concepts? Is there something that you want to close with from this magnificent interview and your wisdom that just continues to astound me?
So I'll combine the two. Yeah. Speaking of growth, I have a knack for seeing the best in people and bringing that out and yet I mean talk about growth potential, and yet I'm shy about saying I want to coach groups because I'm like, when you get passionate about doing something and then monkey mind starts going, oh, but you don't have much experience, but there's other coaches who are much better, and on and on and on and on. So yes, during this podcast, I'm announcing that that I'm excited about being a group coach because people each have so much wisdom to bring to the table, and yet groups sometimes need a central need someone to help them focus on bringing that wisdom out, instead of going into minutia and nitpicking and just and just things that don't really matter to anyone. So yes, I'm announcing group coaching. I don't have any more specifics on it than that, because yeah, I haven't developed it much more yet. But and this ties into what I wanted to close with. So I would bet that each of you have something that's within you, like being a group coach is within me, something that you want to do, but you keep telling yourself, I'm not a professional at it. I need to earn a living, any of the thousand excuses we tell ourselves in this life for not doing exactly what we want to do. And I would say just start. It does, saying you want to do the thing you really want to do, declaring it, doesn't mean that you have to drop everything in life and just do that thing like 90 hours a week and have that be your whole life. You can by start by taking one step towards it. One, and that step might take 10 minutes. But just do one thing, and then another thing, and then another thing. We don't have to either A, earn a living, or B, follow our passions. We can do both. It doesn't take 24 hours a day to earn a living. We have free time to let go, to develop how we want to develop. It just takes courage to get beyond the routines that keep us doing the things that aren't that important, like watching that rerun of that thing we've seen twice on TV instead of following a passion. Like, why would we do that? I mean, our passion's really exciting, and watching the rerun, maybe the original show was amazing, but you've already seen it twice. There's, like, do the thing. Find the time in your day to do what you love, whether it's 10 minutes a day, great. Whether it's an hour a day, if you have an hour a day, you're blessed. That's great too. If it's 2 hours, wow, you won the lottery. That's great. But just find
I'm not sure if you are all having technical difficulties or I'm over talking Jason, so I'll be doing my imperfect best. I don't know how he would sign off, or how this stops. I'm sure he will be back on. But I have to say it's been amazing being given the honor to be in this space, to be with Jason. I just continue to become awed in the most amazing ways by his brilliance and his wisdom and his heart, which is just so huge. So I'm the only one here, and hopefully Jason will be able to do what we need to do, or I'm going to be doing a podcast for everybody. I love the imperfect best of this situation. So, going to keep the ball rolling, and I'm sure Jason will come back on and do what Jason needs to do. And It's been amazing being with you all today. It's been amazing that I got to talk to my friend. I get to explore this kind of wisdom and recentering and the request to celebrate and to return back into love and to give myself space to be my imperfect best or be awkwardly awesome or any of the other things he's talked about. And it keeps my dreams alive, and it keeps me from just dropping them all or playing small. To have somebody like Jason in my life as my champion in my corner to celebrate me, I'm one of the luckiest people ever. And it's absolutely extraordinary. So I don't know where we go from here. Um, Life is indeed interesting. Next time I will find out what we do to stop recording. So let me check a couple of things here. Not in my bandwidth to be able to do. If I leave the studio, I wonder what happens. So maybe I'll do that. All right. Blessings to all of you. Catch Jason on his next Awkwardly Awesome podcast, which I believe is every Wednesday. I hear he's got some phenomenal guests coming up, so you'll want to tune in and catch the latest of Jason being Jason with lots of different friends around the world. All right. Take care, everybody, and ciao. Bye.
Thank you all for joining. My talk about imperfect best. My computer just shut down and just needed to restart it. So thank you so much, Harmony, for interviewing me, and you are brilliant, Harmony Sedona. Have a great day, you all. And then now the closing, the exit trailer. Okay, this is the most awkward ending to the most awesome interview. I mean, it was just awesome being interviewed. Oh, M-Book. Okay, bye.